So with the French Open coming up in a few days' time and the draw coming out in the next 24 hours, let's have a look at what players have the most to lose and the most to gain when it comes to rankings, because of course there are some massive names that have a lot of points to defend at this French Open. Let's have a look. The players with the most to lose on the WTA side, starting with Gauff. She made the semi-finals last year. Currently world number 2, she's got 780 points to defend. On Draper also has 780 points to defend after making a good run to the semis last year. Of course, Paolini made the final. She's got 1,300 points to defend, but luckily just won Rome, so maybe can afford to lose a little bit earlier than the final this year. And then Swiatek, she's got 2,000 points to defend, and of course, her ranking has already dropped down from number 2 to number 5. And by the end of the French Open, if she doesn't replicate what she's been doing the last couple of years, really could drop down the rankings, so she is definitely the one with the most pressure. Players with the most to gain, Zheng. She actually made the third round last year and only has 130 points to defend, and of course won the Olympic gold medal at this venue, so her potential to get even higher up the rankings is very high. Madison Keys, also only the third round last year. Of course, clay's not really her surface, but she has shown that she can play on clay in the past, so 130 points to defend. She could really add to her total if she gets to the second week. Pegula, she didn't play last year, so she is playing with house money and can just go there and do whatever she wants. She's made the quarterfinals here before a few times, so really interested to see how she can add to her total, and currently number 3 in the world. And Mukova also didn't play last year. Of course, she has got a little bit of injury concern, but hopefully if she's healthy, made the final in 2023, could really have a run here and maybe push back into the top 10. Over on the men's side of things, we've got Rude, made the semi-finals last year, so has 800 points to defend, but has been very consistently making the semi-finals or better here in the last few years, so we'll see how he does. Jannik Sinner, of course, made the semi-finals last year, got 800 points to defend, and after making the final in Rome, has got to feel pretty confident about replicating that result. Zverev, he made the final last year, has 1,200 points to defend, and his form's been a little bit all over the place, so really a lot of pressure on Zverev to do well at this event and try and keep that number 3 ranking. And of course, Alcaraz, the defending champion, 2,000 points to defend, but the way that he's been playing, unless he gets a nightmare draw, you've got to think that he's probably going to make at least the semi-finals or the final and cover a lot of those points to stay at number 2. Players with the most to gain, we have Musetti, made the third round last year, only has 100 points to defend. Of course, has had a really good clay court season and into the top 10. Tommy Paul, also been pretty decent on the clay this year, had some really good results in Rome. Only made the third round here last year, so 100 points to defend there. Menzik, someone who's not really been that great on the clay, but didn't play last year, so there's only upside for him. If he does get a good draw and make it to a 4th round potentially, could really add to his total and move towards that top 10. And Draper, lost in the first round last year as an unseeded player and now is a top seed and has proven that he can play on clay. So if he does do decent on the clay, makes the second week of Roland Garros, could really help his ranking and keep him in that top 10 for a long time. So there it is. Those are the players with the most to lose and the most to gain. Let me know down in the comments below. Is there anyone I missed that has more to gain? I've kind of focused only on like those top 10 players for the most part. I know Feast also lost pretty early, so Arthur Feast could be somebody who could really get a boost in the rankings if he does do well and push towards that top 10 as well. But there it is. Those are the rankings. Let me know down in the comments below as well if you have a prediction. Who's going to win the French Open? Is Swiatek going to go 4 out of 4? Is Alcaraz going to be able to defend, or do you think it's going to be someone totally different? But there it is. Those are the rankings and what the players have the most to gain and the most to lose going into the French Open.